Quiz 5, question 4 had to do with speech and language. So dysarthria is speech having difficulty talking. It's a speech problem, not a language problem. So dysarthria is very common because a lot of people with upper motor neuron damage have weakness, and the weakness can affect their tongue, or it can affect their larynx or pharynx. Any kind of weakness in the muscles that contribute to speech will lead to slurred speech. Cerebellar lesions also lead to slurred speech because these individuals cannot coordinate the muscles of speech, and you'll see that with Dan, who has a cerebellar stroke. Dysphagia or dysphagia, depending on what country you come from, is a swallowing problem. Again, it's due to weakness. It's a motor problem, difficulty swallowing, which leads to aspiration pneumonia, which can ultimately lead to death. So dysphagia is a very serious impairment, and most people end up having to have a feeding tube or a peg tube until that resolves, if it ever does resolve. And then receptive and expressive aphasia. Again, expressive aphasia is a problem getting the words out. The people are usually very frustrated. They're fully aware of what's going on around them. They know that they have a problem, and they know what they want to say. They just can't express it, can't get it out. So it's called expressive aphasia or non-fluent aphasia or Broca's aphasia. Receptive aphasia is a problem receiving language. They can't understand what you're saying, so they're not going to readily follow your verbal commands. And they also don't understand what they're saying. It's called fluent aphasia because their words come out very well formed and come out in a nice fluid manner. They just don't make sense. So, Apple Beach car day might be something that someone with receptive aphasia would say. Now, if you had severe receptive aphasia, because like every other impairment, it's on a continuum. So if severe receptive aphasia, they may only have one word, like the patient I described online who said gugum, 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 gum, gum, gugum, and that was all he would say. And that's very common as well. So you might say, hey, Mr. Smith, how are you? Gugum. What did you do last night? Oh, gum, 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 gum. And they're not frustrated. They're just kind of in ignorant bliss. And so when you see these two different types of aphasia, they're actually very easy to distinguish clinically. In the real world, however, there's always usually a mixture. Very rare to have a pure expressive and a pure receptive aphasia. And sometimes one person is more dominated by expressive and has some elements of receptive, or vice versa. So it is more rare to have those pure isolated strokes. So you have to have a small isolated lesion to present that way.